the media is not happy about Poilievre's giant rallies that he's doing, particularly the Edmonton one. Here from Brett Sears posted this clip. Let's see how the media handles the fact that Pierre Poilievre is very inconveniently having massive crowds show up to see him speak.
Poilievre, Laura Stone, Globe and Mail. I want to ask about...
How did you like our rally last night?
Well, I wanted to ask about your rallies.
Thank you.
And whether size matters. I actually want to know about your rallies and what your strategy is and who you're talking to, because you bring up things like woke mob, Century Initiative, bulldozing the CBC. I'm exaggerating, but getting rid of CBC HQ. At what point are you just talking in an echo chamber to people who already feel that way, or do you feel like these are broadening the tent of support to Liberal or undecided voters to get them on board with your campaign?
So it's always framing, or it's very often framing. They're not interested in the answer. They're interested in framing the issue in a negative way. So turning a positive into a negative.
I think it's pretty broad. I think how many people do you think we had last night?
Thousands.
Well, that's pretty obvious. I think you can be more precise than that.
I don't. I mean, the party said 10,000 register. There's reports of 15. I really can't say.
One last question. When was the last time we had a rally that big in Canada?
I don't know. I've never been to a political rally that big, I don't think.
You know a lot about politics.
Well,
You're a very well-informed person. I know that if there were a bigger rally than that, you would know about it. I think so. But I think it was pretty incredible. Were any of you there? Yes. Magic, eh? Wow. Incredible. Listen, I think to have 10 or 15,000 people at one political rally, this is a movement like we've never seen, because people want change. They want to put our country first for a change. They've seen that after the lost Liberal decade of doubling housing costs, of rising crime, of taxes out of control, of our economy weak and under America's thumb, they can't afford to live. And what they want is a new conservative government that will put Canada first for a change. And that's why my speech talked about axing taxes, greenlighting housing construction, expanding our energy sector to bring home our jobs so that we can put Canada first for a change. That was the message yesterday, and that is the message that Canadians are going to vote for change on Election Day. Thank you.
I think that's the way you steal back the framing. You just do it in good humor, and you kind of just ignore the obvious attempt to kind of poison the well. I think he did that very well. We're getting lots of apples in the chat now. Perfect. But I think that's the way to handle that. And it seems to have put a little bit of a spring back in Pierre's step, this massive rally. Because I do think it seemed like maybe his energy was ebbing a little bit, maybe just the relentless pressure, the relentless negativity. He's never been through, this before. So it's got to be kind of shocking, because you've seen it, but then when you're the focus of it, just relentless lies and negativity from people who are supposed to be, their jobs are supposed to be to just objectively inform the public. It seems to have put some spring back in his step again. I'm very happy about that. But I want to go back to that reporter's question again. I just want to hear one part of it.
I actually want to know about your rallies and what your strategy is and who you're talking to, because you bring up things like woke mob, Century Initiative, bulldozing the CBC. I'm exaggerating.
Okay, so for one thing, the Century Initiative, as if they like something but they don't want you to know that they like it, they'll treat it like it's a conspiracy theory, even though they like it. And if you ask them specifically about it, they'll tell you it's a good thing, right? It's one of those, it's not happening. Yes, it is. And it's a good thing issues, right? Century Initiative is a real thing. It's a real nonprofit. Mark Carney brought on the founder of the Century Initiative to be an advisor in his campaign, an important advisor. And the purpose of the Century Initiative is to convince Canadians that having 100 million people in the country is a great idea. So it's a real thing. It's something that he should be talking about. Obviously, it's of great import to the country, to Canadians, right? This is a massively consequential issue.
At what point are you just talking in an echo chamber to people who...
What politician isn't talking to an echo chamber to some extent, or to mainly to an echo chamber. Of course, every politician is doing that. Why not ask this question of Carney? Is Carney talking to an echo chamber? In Carney's case, it's much more of an echo chamber because it's people that are just, their brains are directly plugged into the CBC and they literally see nothing else. They see nothing. They see nothing negative about Mark Carney, and they only see negative about Pierre Poilievre or just any conservative. Any conservative around the world, as a matter of fact. Apparently, every conservative around the world, including in Canada, is all far-right fascists, apparently. Again, this is just negative, just mindless negative framing.
Already feel that way, or do you feel like these are broadening the tent of support to liberal or undecided voters to get them on board with your campaign?
He just did the largest political event in decades. I think he might be reaching more people than just an echo chamber. The stupidity on display, they just don't care. They don't care about looking stupid. They just have their job to do and they're going to do it. After all, there's a raise in it for him. If Carney gets in, right? 150 million extra. That'll just be a start, by the way. Anyway, Pierre handled that very well. That's the right way to handle it. You handle it in good humor, and you just ignore the idiocy in the framing. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. Please like, share, and subscribe. Subscribing really helps me out. I thank you for that. I will see you next time.